So if you're going through something, let's say some challenges medically, maybe physically, mentally, things like that, of course you want to heal. And for that, there can be counseling, there can be therapy, there can be medication, there can also be energy. And it works. It's been proven. And part of that energy comes from sound. And we're going to dig deep into that today, give you some examples as well. When we talk about sound and how it heals you, think of it this way. You put on some favorite songs that you haven't heard in a while and you feel better. It could be in kind of a bum mood and it's like, I feel good. Well, it's the same kind of concept. And she helps people heal all the time through sound. And her name is Barb Sounds. And she's back with us. Hey, Barb, how you doing?
Good. I'm good, Steve. How about you?
Yeah, basic understanding of this whole thing, sound healing. Why don't you go from there and explain it even deeper, how this all works, how when you hit a certain instrument, the vibrations get inside and make us feel better? How's that
Okay.
work?
Well, when I hit a certain instrument, I mean the vibrations and the vibrations are quite powerful, like not necessarily loud all the time, but they're powerful in the sort of the amount of energy that they're giving off. If you're listening in person, you get the like the sounds, the frequencies, like their sound comes from molecules moving, like and protons and things inside your cells moving. So your body is, vibrating and has certain frequencies, and the instruments have what's called harmonics, which is like a whole bunch of frequencies, a whole bunch of sounds, thousands of sounds the gongs have all at the same time. So they can travel through the air. In this case, when I'm playing virtually, they're traveling through the microphones and then through Zoom. And if people have a good set of headphones on or some nice speakers, it's pretty darn close to what it would be like if you were sitting here in person. So the frequencies, the vibrations go into your whole body, like not just your ears. It's not something that happens through your ears. You can hear the sounds, and that's pleasant. That kind of lulls your brain into a little bit of relaxation. But basically, the frequencies and the vibrations will go into your body, and then, like we said before, they'll entrain those cells. They'll pull any cells that you have that have dipped down into not healthy vibration. They'll pull them back up. But it does like a lot of things. So when you're listening to these instruments and when you're in sound healing, what happens with your body is it puts your body into the parasympathetic state, and that's the deep relaxation state for
Okay.
people, and that's the state where you can heal, right? And it also does something else. It stimulates our bodies to produce nitric oxide. Now, nitric oxide is kind of like a miracle chemical in our bodies. So, the more we can produce nitric oxide, the more it opens our blood vessels, it increases the efficiency of our cells, it regulates your blood pressure, it lowers your cholesterol, it reduces your risk of stroke and heart disease. It reduces inflammation. And most importantly, for people these days, it reduces pain and secondary pain, like physical pain. And secondary pain is when, if you have a pain in your shoulder, then you start to feel pain radiating out all around that. And you have almost like a phantom pain in other parts of your body that are just all clenching up because of the original pain. So it's really good for all of that. And it will rejuvenate and repair and bring rapid growth to your red and white blood cells. So it's mega immune boosting. And I've seen experiments or research they've done where they have videos and like they take a blood sample and you can see the red blood cells are kind of all wonky and they're not round and there's all kinds of like inflammation all over the place. And then they play a gong for 20 minutes and they take the same person's blood again, and it has twice as many blood cells in there after 20 minutes of gong, and they're all nice and round and they're all very healthy. So
Wow.
those are
I
the
guess you made some things come really clear for me in the last couple of minutes, and that is that number one, the frequency of your instruments. I'm a little geeky when it comes to sound, and the frequencies. Let's say this is the lowest frequency. This is the highest frequency that we can hear. Okay, your gongs are in here in a little sweet spot right around here. They're not. They don't produce super high sounds. They don't produce super low sounds. Where I'm going with that is you can reproduce those sounds over different mediums much easier.
Yeah.
Like, for example, let's say you were hitting cymbals, very high frequency. Your headphones might not reproduce it that way, but to get the job done, you're here, and that we can hear it just over a Zoom, over different devices, maybe even over our phone, because it will produce, you know,
Yep.
in that range that I'm talking about. And when you said the sympathetic situation, your nervous system,
The parasympathetic.
it, yeah, it almost it's almost like the key to your soul
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
to allow something
Mm-hmm.
to come in. What are you allowing to come in? The sound and the energy. So it's Xanax. We're starting with Xanax. It sounds Xanax in a way where you're just
Well,
like, okay, great. I'm in a good
it's true.
place.
Yeah, it's true because a parasympathetic state in your body is where there's no fear in your body.
Right.
There's no survival mechanisms happening. There's no things shutting down or things,
Yes.
expanding. You're just in this nice, really, really relaxed state. And that is the best place to be to heal. And your body will heal itself when it's in that state. I mean, for most of us in our lives, we're in the sympathetic mode, which is the fight, flight, or whatever, that thing.
Yep.
So we're in, even if we think we're chill and we're like really calm, we've got all kinds of stuff going on, subconsciously and in the back of our minds. So we never stop worrying and stressing about this, that, and the other thing. And our mind's always going. So it's the same thing that, meditation can also, put your mind into like really deep um, situations. But what the gongs also do, like with your mind, the same way they relax your body, they relax your mind. So they
Mhm.
put your mind into the delta theta brain waves that experienced meditators work for, meditate every day for 25 years to get there. And in that state, the same as how when your body is in parasympathetic mode and you don't have any body fear, because our bodies have, physical fear.
Sure.
When your mind is in the deep relaxation in the delta theta waves, then anxiety and depression go away, pain and goes away, fear and overwhelm goes away. Hope and calm are like there. You have better sleep. You have less damage from the chronic stress that you're carrying around. And it's really good for, if you're working with grief and, chronic illness and all those things.
Amazing. And I never thought of it that way, but I do know when I hear you start playing right away, call it I'm receptive. Because it's just like it's like hitting the brakes on life. Woo.
Yeah.
And that's how I believe that's why a lot of us miss messages and miss signs from wherever because we're all running
Mm-hmm.
all over the place. This takes us and stops us and allows some healing. Um,
Yeah.
I don't want to run out of time because we always do this.
Right. We always do
Way
this.
back ahead. Um, we're gonna have
Okay.
we're gonna have Barb play, and would love your comments, your input on what you feel and hear when she does. You can do that instant feedback, steve@gmail.com. What do we need to know, Barb? Anything about what you're going to play, how you're going to play?
I actually think I've been noticing just how people are feeling these days. And I think everybody is carrying a lot of grief from COVID and from things that happened, and people lost all kinds of things, right? People lost other people and jobs, and just the whole way that
For sure.
our lives were before is gone. And I think people are still really grieving that. And grief is a very hard thing, and we tend to carry it around all the time. So I'm going to play today for grief. Now, that doesn't mean that the sounds are going to make everybody sad, but it means that if anybody who's listening, if you're aware of any kind of grief that you have, if you're mourning a lost loved one, or if you're in the back of your mind wishing it was still like before COVID and all the kind of thing, just maybe kind of gently take that and, ask, put the the prayer or the ask out that maybe your body and your mind can let go of a little bit of that today.
Nice. And
Okay.
before you begin, I just want to ask this one quick question. Are you playing differently with this ion grief, or you just set the intention for it?
Yes, and yes.
Okay, fair
So
enough.
I'm playing differently. When I set an intention to play for something, I mean, usually when I play for individual people, I ask them where they're at and what they're struggling with and what would they like to let go of and what would they like to heal. And then I set my intention for the sounds that come through from the instruments, and the healing that go for those specific things. And what I find, because I play intuitively, then that means that the way that the gongs and the bowls are singing and playing is going to be geared, towards grief, but not towards grief in the sense of building it up, but grief in the sense of letting go. So today it's going to be about letting go of grief.
Love it. Ready when
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to change my sound.
And she's back.
And I'm back.
Wow. Uh, gotta tell you, we've done quite a few of these. You've played. That was the best yet in terms of you playing and also the sound. I don't know what was going on
Nice.
there, but
Nice.
it was all going on. Um, just the all of it together. And are they the final instruments that you were playing? Are those wind chimes?
Yes.
Okay.
Those are the Zapier wind chimes.
And you were
Oh.
playing inside a bowl. I saw you lower them down.
Well, the reason I was doing that is because you need to have them like right under a microphone
Okay.
or like right in front of a microphone in order for the sound to come through because it's a very quiet kind of tinkly sound. And so the microphone that's like hanging over the big bowl
Okay. Yeah.
in the back that I'm playing them under is the closest, so I don't have to be, walking the whole length of the studio. So,
And you know what? Probably the bowl enhanced the sound,
oh,
deflected
it
it,
totally does.
right?
They all um, if you think of them as living beings, they all get excited to play with each other. Like,
Hmm.
so if you're playing one thing and then you start to play another thing, well, the sound is still dying down from that one thing.
It is.
Like two gongs or like a bowl and a gong, or like I played the singing bowls today and then started the crystal bowls when you could still hear the singing bowls in the background. And gongs in particular, like gongs, I think, like I was saying last time, they just meld all together. The singing bowls too.
And I think I part of the part I like is that when you play one thing, you still have the sound decay. The gong is still reverberating, and then you
Yeah.
another one. Um, Instant feedback. We have Kelly from Dania, Florida, checks in. She says, "Thank you. Okay, thank you for playing because it was so calming. I lost my mom and still struggle with it. Thank you very
Mhm.
much." Wow,
You're
interesting.
welcome, Kelly. I'm glad. I'm
Hmm.
glad that little bit helped.
Yeah. So, how do
Yeah.
you distinguish the intent? Now, I know that intent is big. I could grab, I've got Palo Santo spray here. This is legit. It's 100% organic. It's the real.
Hmm.
This could be something that smells like it. It might not even be, but I've often heard if you put the intent, I'm spraying this to bring on good energy, uh, it can work pretty much similar. So
Yeah.
you had the intent there for letting things go in terms of grieving. How do you pick the sounds to go along with that?
Well, see, I don't pick the sounds. I don't ever pick the sounds. That's why, I mean, that's the thing that's the hardest to explain is because with the intuitive playing, I mean, the sounds that the gongs made, for instance, today, um, are completely different than the sounds that they made last time
Oh, sure.
that I played, right? And so and the way that they play too. So I mean, when I'm it's kind of like I'm channeling. You know how people channel spirits and they tell you what the spirits are saying to them and stuff. It's kind of the same thing. I'm channeling, right? I'm channeling energy. I'm channeling energy to the gongs based on my intention, right? And that's assisted and helped by the intention of the people because I ask people to hold that intention. So for somebody like Kelly, part of the reason that was so helpful was because Kelly, you were also setting that intention, and that
Okay.
augmented, that augmented mine, and that augmented the way that the gongs then played for the people who were listening, and they played differently. So that I played the deep breath gong and the Sri Yantra and then the Atlantis, and the Atlantis is good for very, very. This one I played at the end, and it's
Okay.
very good for emotional healing. So my mind chose to play the Atlantis and also the deep breath and the Sri Yantra. But the Atlantis I chose because I know it helps with emotional healing. Why did my mind choose to play the deep breath and the Sri Yantra? I don't know. Like that's just what came to me, so I just did that. But when I was playing those gongs, because we're dealing with grief, and grief is a very heavy feeling, they played more slowly. Like I was playing, like I played more slowly with the mallets, and then therefore the gongs were able to, make certain sounds that sort of built up, and
Got it.
very sort of, low sounds that were like just really comforting.
So it's not like Barb is going to do the grieving set today. No, it's the intention is there. You may play it a little slower, but that allowed the energy to sound differently, and obviously it's going to work differently. I
Yeah.
wish you could do that again. We're out of time. You
I'll
could
do
just
it next time.
oh, so
But
good.
we can do it for something else next time, for like
Yeah,
another issue. But I mean that's what I do. And so, I mean, and Kelly, I would, encourage you to come and like to do an online personal session with me, because, there's
yeah.
I think we're probably even in the same time zone up here in Ontario as you guys are. So,
Yep.
imagine if you can spend a whole hour or even a half hour with me playing, just for, and not just for grief, but for your grief, for your grief about your mom. And so, and when I'm playing just for one person, all the healing energy goes to you.
That's a
It's
really good point. Because now,
it's then
yes,
those gongs are focused, and they will play differently than they did today if I was just playing for you, Kelly. But I mean, it's beautiful. Like you spend an hour, and you know
it's amazing. And that's it. I was just going to say, you played for, I don't know, 6 minutes or whatever.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
you don't want it to end because you just get into, such a zone, that it feels good. How do we find
yeah.
you? How do we book a one-on-one? I know you do sound baths with groups as well. Whatever. I know it's Eventbrite, I think, if I remember.
Yes, if you go to Barb Sounds, BARB, and then the word sounds with an S, .eventbrite.ca, that's where the tickets are for my group sound baths. And Kelly, if you want to come and do a group sound bath, because it's a little cheaper than the individual one, you can. It will still help you with your grief, because you'll set that intention yourself. And I'm playing to everybody, who's listening. If you want to book an individual session with me, go to a site called heal.me. So HEAL is in healing.me, and then just /Barb Sounds, and you'll find all the different kinds of sessions that I do.
Good stuff
And you can
today.
book on there. Yeah.
Also just clarity, even for me. And I've been exposed to this before with you, but now I got it. I truly feel like I've kind of figured out how this all works. And thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
And looking forward next time we get a concert. We'll call it that.
Super. Yeah,
All right.
we'll have a concert next time too.
All
Yep.
right.